where the memories stay, past the fields and fences worn by yesterday. Pull up a chair, friend, come along with me. There's a story waiting round every old oak tree. Rusty's Backroad stories, where the miles roll by, with a little bit of laughter and a tear in your eye. So settle in close and let the memories flow. Rusty's Backroad stories, down the roads we know. You're listening to Rusty's Backroad stories.
Well, friend, tonight's story begins with a mailbox. Not much to look at. Just an old metal box sitting on a gravel road outside a little town called Willow Creek. Most folks drive past mailboxes every day without giving them a second thought. But for nearly 50 years, one mailbox on County Road 18 received a letter every single month, and nobody knew who was sending them. This is the last letter from Willow Creek. If you drove down County Road 18 in Willow Creek, you'd eventually pass a small farmhouse with peeling white paint and a front porch that sagged just a little more every year. The house belonged to Margaret Ellis. Margaret had lived there since 1969. She was known for three things: her homemade blackberry pies, her stubbornness, and the letters. On the first Tuesday of every month, without fail, Margaret would walk to the mailbox. Inside would be a handwritten letter, no return address, no stamp anyone recognized, just her name written carefully across the envelope. The townspeople noticed. Of course they did. This was Willow Creek. Folks noticed everything, but Margaret never spoke about the letters, not even to her closest friends. She'd smile politely, thank the mail carrier, and carry the letter inside for 47 years. Then one autumn morning, Margaret didn't come to the mailbox. Neighbors grew concerned. Sheriff Tom Reynolds found her peacefully asleep in her favorite chair. A letter rested unopened in her lap. The entire town attended her funeral. Afterward, Margaret's attorney gathered everyone at the church hall. He explained that Margaret had left instructions, very specific instructions. The final letter was to be opened publicly. The room fell silent. The attorney carefully opened the envelope. Inside was a handwritten note. It began, "My dearest Maggie." Several older residents gasped. Only one person had ever called Margaret Maggie: her husband, James. James Ellis had died in Vietnam in 1971, or at least that's what everyone believed. The attorney continued reading. "If you're hearing this, then I've finally kept my promise." The room sat frozen. "Before I shipped out, I wrote you 50 years of letters. I asked my best friend, Walter Pierce, to mail one every month if I didn't come home." People looked at each other in disbelief. Walter Pierce had died 10 years earlier. No one had ever known. The letter continued. "I knew I might never see you again, but I couldn't bear the thought of you living the rest of your life without hearing my voice. So I wrote about everything. The life I hoped we'd have, the children we dreamed of, the sunsets I wished we'd watch, the old age I prayed we'd share." There wasn't a dry eye in the room. Then came the final paragraph. "Maggie, if you're hearing this, then you've lived a life far longer and richer than I ever got to. Thank you for carrying my love with you all these years. And thank you for never letting me leave. Until we meet again. Forever yours, James." The room fell silent. Then something extraordinary happened. One by one, people began sharing memories. Margaret had never remarried. She had never forgotten James. but she had never stopped living either. She taught school for 30 years, raised foster children, helped neighbors, volunteered at church, baked pies for anyone who needed comfort. And every month, she'd received another piece of the life she never got to have. A week later, the town gathered at the cemetery. Beside Margaret's grave, they placed a small bronze mailbox. On it were engraved the words, "Some letters take a lifetime to arrive." To this day, people visiting Willow Creek still stop by that little mailbox. And if you ask an old-timer about Margaret Ellis, they'll usually smile. Then they'll tell you the greatest love stories aren't always the ones that last forever. Sometimes they're the ones that help us live. You know, friend, we spend a lot of time worrying about being forgotten, but love doesn't work that way. Real love leaves traces, in letters, in memories, in the people we become because someone cared enough to change our lives. James never got the future he dreamed of. Margaret never got the life she planned, but somehow, through 50 years of letters, they gave each other something even greater, a reason to keep going, and maybe that's what love really is. Not holding on to what you've lost, but carrying it forward with gratitude. Well, friend, that's tonight's story. Until next time, keep your eyes on the road, your heart open, and remember, every back road has a story.